station can sometimes be a therapy session, and we need one giant group therapy session. It is June 18th. The Mets are still in first place. The Yankees are still in first place. The world is not ending. The sky is not falling. But you know what? It sure feels that way. The Yankees can't score a freaking run. And for all of us Met fans, Atlanta PTSD has returned. Because last night in Georgia, Juan Soto hits a home run in the first inning. David Peterson is cruising through 7. And the Mets are on their way to a nice, neat, and tidy 4-1 victory against the Atlanta Braves. Put another nail in their coffin. And then all of a sudden, the demons of the past arrived. And there are many demons from last night's game. Whether it's walking the 9th place hitter, Nick Allen, to start an inning in which you're up by 3 runs, to Mendy making the decision to keep David Peterson in, to Reed Garrett teasing us by getting 2 outs with the bases loaded, nobody out, to Francisco Alvarez changing his pitch selection with Reed Garrett, to Marcell Ozuna, who's a disgusting human being, ripping a game-tying double, to Pete Alonso apparently hitting a home run, but no, not with the baseballs in 2025, to Ronald Acuna Jr. making an amazing play, to Juan Soto being picked off first base, to Francisco Alvarez making a defensive miscue, to the offense going to sleep after the 5th inning. Everything about last night was like the demons of the past. And so as much as you tell me, Tiki, this isn't 1999 anymore, this isn't 2001 anymore, this isn't 2022 anymore, can you blame the Met fan for thinking that last night was like every other freaking night in that disgusting city?
And nicely wrapped by a rain issue as well, which you came to find out was the same thing when I was down there in 2022.
It always rains in Atlanta.
And I didn't even remember.
That's right.
Look, there are so many things to blame. You just kind of laid them all out. I think that the one that people are going to scream about most is the David Peterson one. It let him go out for the 8th inning. But no matter what would have happened, you were going to get yelled at, right? Especially if the same result transpired. If Reed Garrett comes in and gives up 2 hits and gives up the lead and the same thing happens, you're going to scream at Mendy for not leaving David Peterson in after he just threw a complete game, after he was cruising through 7 innings. Why would you take him out? He only had 82 pitches. So you leave him in. Maybe the one issue is leaving him in after he walked the 9-hitter and letting Acuna go get a hit. But still, no matter what happened, you probably were going to be wrong. And that's what's frustrating, I think, from an analyst standpoint, like an IBO standpoint. No matter what Carlos Mendoza did, it seemed like he was going to be wrong. The Mets seemed destined to find a way to lose this game.
Well, a lot of little things did them in. And for a majority of this season, which got the Mets to a 45-27 record till last night, they've overcome the little mistakes.
Yes.
But they've made a lot of little mistakes this season. And in last night's game against the Atlanta Braves, for the first 8 innings, you didn't think the little mistakes would kill you, but they actually did. Juan Soto got picked off first base with Pete Alonso at the plate. That's a mistake. Pete Alonso tries to stretch a single into a double. That's a mistake. Even on the game-tying hit by Marcell Ozuna, Francisco Lindor can't cleanly make the play on the throw from Brandon Nimmo where they had a real shot to throw out Alex Verdugo as the tying run. That's a mistake. The issue with Soto in the 9th inning on the fly ball to right field, we can blame the umpire, but it's a mistake. And then obviously Francisco Alvarez incorrectly trying to block a ball in the dirt and then making matters worse by throwing to second base is a mistake. But the bigger mistake that I haven't even mentioned, that many to Met fans may not jump out at you as a mistake, is something that has really bothered this team throughout this losing streak. Their offense, which is supposed to be their strength, has gone quiet from the 6th inning on every night. In fact, you have to go all the way back to a full week ago to find the last time the Mets scored a solitary run in the 6th inning or later.
Wow.
They don't score runs late. So last night, when Juan Soto hits the tone-setting home run and Tyrone Taylor bloops in that 2-run double and Tyrone Taylor hits a home run in the 5th and the Mets have put up 4 runs against the guy they've had a very tough time hitting in Spencer Schwellenbach, you know, it wasn't illegal to score more runs. It wasn't illegal to have a 6-1 lead instead of a 4-1 lead. And I bring it up not just because of last night, but because this has been a problem all year. To me, they're not scoring enough runs. If the Mets are going to get where I expect them to go, where PT expects them to go, that's positive, Tommy, where most Met fans expect them to go, they got to hit. And they haven't hit enough. And so last night, even after they blew the lead in the 8th inning, they could have scored a run in the 9th inning, but they made 2 outs on the bases. Really, 1 out on the bases, 2 outs earlier on the bases. And then in the 10th inning, with the freaking Manfred man on second base, I got to watch Jared Young hit. Jared Young shouldn't be on this team. He shouldn't. He should have been pinch hit for, and he should be DFA'd. I don't need to see him anymore. But even then, he could hit the ball to second base and advance the runner. He doesn't do it. Francisco Alvarez, who, let's face it, has mostly been a bust in his major league career, hits a weak fly ball to right field, and Ronnie Mauricio looks overmatched, and he pops up the shortstop. The Mets could have scored a run there. They didn't. So it's a lot of little things that add up, but what really puts it all together in a tight bow that gets me, I don't know if the word is angry or concerned. That's up to you to determine what I am today. It's the Braves. It's the Braves. This didn't happen against the Pirates or the Rockies or the Cardinals or the Giants or the Rays or the Orioles or any other team. It's this team. And this team haunts my nightmares. Whether he wants to admit it or not, it haunts his nightmares. I'm pointing at Tommy. It haunts all our nightmares. And it's similar to the Yankees. And I'll tell you why.
But the Yankees aren't, it's not specifically a team.
It's not a team. You know what it is? The Yankees not scoring runs haunts your dreams of October because that's usually the way your season ends.
But it's also June, right? This is the Atlanta Braves haunting the Met fan simply because they've been your daddy for so damn long. But this for the Yankee fan is June haunting the Yankees, where you just go through these swoons. And we were talking about this earlier. It feels like, man, are they just tired? They need the All-Star. They need the All-Star break because they just fell off. Right, all of a sudden they're leading the league in runs scored. They're 10 runs a game or whatever the heck the number is. It's not that many, but you know what I mean. And then all of a sudden they scored nothing in 4 straight games, and they've scored 5 runs in the last 5, and this losing streak is ridiculous. What happened other than June? And they're too far away from the All-Star break to be tired. You know what? So yeah, it becomes a non-excuse. A bull moment, right? There's no excuse that you can throw out there and say, well, this is what's happening. This is what's happening with the back half of the Yankees lineup. Past Stanton, there's no damn hits, right? They had 4 hits against a not good pitcher yesterday. So what's the excuse? What's the reasoning? What's the reasoning that the Mets all of a sudden feel impotent, right? What's the excuse?
Well, you know, the excuse with the Mets could simply be they've had a wonderful season, and they've hit their first real road bump of the year with a 4-game losing streak, which may get worse over the next 2 days. Right. It's a that's baseball kind of moment. Yeah, but I heard Aaron Boone after the game say the same thing about the Yankees. It's baseball. You slump. You know why it doesn't feel that way?
It feels
different.
Individual slump. To have a whole team slump and not score a run in a whole team and not score a run in 5 days.
No, that's the part that's abnormal. Like the Yankees struggling to score runs for a 6-game period is not crazy. I think what's crazy is that this is historically bad. That's what makes it weird. Like, going through an offensive slump is normal. Going through a team slump is normal. Having a team that's in first place, losing a bunch of games in a row, is very normal. It is a 162-game season. I think on the Yankee end, which makes what we're watching so abnormal, is that they literally haven't scored a run in 29 consecutive innings, and they've been shut down by pitchers that do not impress you.
Right.
I mean, if you go through the list of guys, there are, I added it up, 10 different pitchers that have shut the Yankees out over this stretch. 13 pitching performances, 10 different pitchers. And I ask you to power rank the pitchers that have shut down the New York Yankees. It's a very unimpressive list. Like, Kyle Hendricks hasn't been good in 3 years. You want to tell me Jose Soriano's got good stuff? Brian Bayo's tremendous? And then all these relievers, Kenley Jansen, Brock Burke, Hunter Strickland, Reed Detmers, though he's pitched well, Garrett Whitlock, Brennan Bernardino? Like, they're literally being shut down by also-rans.
Right.
And so I think what's concerning with the Yankees is that it's not just a slump. It's a historic slump. And it does remind you of the thing that usually does their season in, which is not scoring enough runs when it matters the most.
Yes, especially in October. But this is happening in June, which seems to always happen in June as well. But look, is it terminal? No, of course not. It's just something you weather, you get through, you complain, you bitch about, and really for both teams here, and I'm talking. And then eventually you come out on the other side of it. There's now reports that the Yankees had this post-game players-only conversation.
They went team meeting route.
Whatever that actually does. Half the guys are in there rolling their eyes like, shut up, it's just baseball. The other half are pissed off about it. So it's we'll see if it has a productive outcome to what's ailing the Yankees, but it's really just guys being smarter at the plate. Aaron Judge said it best in their last series, the Red Sox series. I just got to swing at strikes. Don't swing at balls, and everything will be better.
Well, I think the other thing is there have been times and games where the Yankees win, and it's Aaron Judge doing superhuman things. Right now, Aaron Judge is human. He's slumping. Yeah. He's not hitting.
Well, the Yankee offense. If the hit a game is a slump, yeah, he's slumping.
No, but he's overall slumping. Is he driving runs in right now?
Of course not.
And that's the thing. The Yankees, at times, and this has been going on for 3 years, this is not new, they are overly reliant on their best player.
No doubt. Now,
is every team reliant on their best player? To a degree. The Yankees are as reliant on their best player as any team I have ever seen. Ever seen. Like, yes, your best players matter. They're very important. But with the Yankees, and we saw this a few years ago when he broke the American League home run record, he is the offense.
Right.
He is the engine.
And it's almost like he is the catalyst. So when he goes, everybody else does.
Sure.
And when he doesn't, nobody does.
Well, and what's also frustrating in this little run the Yankees are on is they're pitching really well. Like, no one's going to mention Will Warren. Will Warren gave you a solid performance yesterday.
Right.
And if you have a half-competent offense, you win. Same thing with Clark Schmidt a day earlier.
Yeah, what did Warren have, 11 strikeouts?
11 strikeouts.
And the Angels are manufacturing runs by bunting for singles list.
Exactly.
Is that your issue? You want more bunting, Sean?
No, I don't want to be the old man screaming about more bunting. I'm just saying...
Well, it's not the Yankees game.
It's not the Yankees game, and that's the problem here. The Angels, facing Will Warren, who was dealing last night, found ways, like they did in those couple early innings, to manufacture some base runners and cause some havoc on the base paths and score some runs.
I'm going to tell you something that maybe you will say you're only saying that because you're the Met fan. I'm going to try to be an IBO when I say this. I'm going to evaluate both teams who are currently in first place, who are currently in great spots if you forget about what's happened recently. I am more concerned about the next few days around the Mets than I am the Yankees. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because the Yankees cannot continue to not score runs. That's not possible. Like, are they really going to set their all-time record for most consecutive innings without a run?
What is it?
I've looked it up. I've double-checked this. I asked AI the record, and they didn't know, or they told me an answer. It turned out to be wrong. No one on the YES Network has said it. No one has said it. So I had to do my own research, and according to Evan Research...
Dude, how long did this take you?
About 37 minutes.
Wow.
37 minutes of research. Here's what I've come up with.
Okay.
And anyone who wants to fact check me, God bless you. Fact check me. The longest consecutive inning streak of not scoring a run was set by the 100-loss New York Highlanders of 1908, in which they went 37 consecutive innings without scoring a run.
Is that even modern baseball?
Yes! Anything after 1903, Tiki. Now, if you want modern baseball, in 2016, the Yankees went 33 consecutive innings without scoring a run. Right now, the Yankees are at 29. So if they get shut out for 8 innings tonight against the Angels, they would tie the 1908 record. If they get shut out for 4 innings tonight, they would tie kind of the modern record. I don't think that continues because I'm just using logic. Like, the Yankee offense is better than that. They've still scored more runs than any other team in the American League.
Right. In modern, you mean live ball era?
Yeah, if you want to go with that.
Right.
If you want to define it. Recent time that we remember. So I look at the Yankees and I say, yes, this is ridiculous. This is insanity.
Wait, so you don't think this will continue for the Yankees?
No.
But you think it potentially could for the Mets?
Years what scares me about the Mets.
Here's what I don't get, though.
Go ahead.
What you're thinking. Because Francisco Lindor has been phenomenal for the last year plus, right? We know this. Pete Alonso is having, until recently, a career year.
He had a good night last night.
He did, of course.
Offensively.
Juan Soto is turning back into Juan Soto. He's hitting home runs. He's getting on base, all those other things. I guess McNeil is there, and maybe you'd lose it after that. But what's on par for the Yankees that are doing that? Right?
Well, here's the difference. the concerns around the Mets I have moving forward is not simply their offense. It's a part of it. I look at the Yankees and I see a pitching staff that's pitched really well over the last couple of days that just is getting not any attention because they. You know how many runs the Yankee offense has scored in the last 6 games for their starting pitchers?
2.
No, 0. They've not scored a run for a starting pitcher.
Starting pitcher.
Right, they scored it after the starter was out.
No, you're right.
But doesn't that scare you a little bit, Evan?
No, because they're not going to continue this.
Right, but they may not be continuing to dominate starting efforts like this. So you know how baseball works.
Sure.
Watch them turn around and score 5 runs and snap this tonight, but Yarborough stinks again.
Real issue, but you're also facing the Angels, who are a mediocre team, and you're facing the Orioles over the weekend.
Sure.
What concerns me about the Mets is, A, who's pitching the next couple of nights, really tonight with Paul Blackburn, and who we don't know is pitching Friday against Philadelphia, and they are facing good teams and division rivals.
Right. So there's question marks around everything because their bats are slumping and the pitching staff, they're just question marks.
Yes.
We don't know what Paul Blackburn's going to be as a starter because he hasn't done it yet.
I am more concerned about the Mets over the next 5 to 6 days than I am the Yankees. Now, does that mean I think the Mets season is going to go down the drain? No, I'm not saying that. But this is now a 4-game losing streak that very easily can turn into a 5-game losing streak with Paul Blackburn taking on Chris Sale. And then they got to deal with Spencer Strider. And then they likely have to deal with Zach Wheeler at some point this weekend. And we know who's pitching Friday. And while I'm calling on this offense to do more, they haven't done more. Now, I'd love to be wrong and watch them put up 8-9 runs. They're capable of it. They haven't done it. So right now, as we have our group therapy session, and maybe this is me being a Met fan, you can tell me if I'm being biased here, I have a few more concerns over the next few days around the Mets than I do the New York Yankees. Am I being fair? Am I being an IBO
No, you're being fair, especially because I can't see the Yankees being scoreless for another 2 games.
Against the Angels.
It's against the Angels. And so here's the reality. It's a 4-game set. We've talked about this multiple times. Just be 500, dude. And so you have 2 bad games against a mediocre team in the Angels. Just win the next 2. And you know what? We'll feel better come Thursday.
And the other thing, and this is the irrational part, because I think what I just offered you is a rational baseball conversation. I'm about to be irrational again. Too bad. Deal with it. The Braves scare the crap out of me. And as much as we think the demons have been exercised by game 161, last night felt like every other night. It felt like every other night. I want to read a comment to you by an unknown person and an unknown date at an unknown time.
Okay.
And tell me how this doesn't apply to the Mets last night. Add this to the long list of awful losses in Atlanta. The nightmare that never ends. Does that not sound like an accurate statement?
Is that Tommy Lugauer?
That was the wise Tommy Lugauer from 2023.
Do I get credit for a day late posted and toasted?
Yes, you do.
Excellent. Yes.
I've realized that sometimes my God that I have to look up to is not current Tommy Lugauer, but 2 years ago Tommy.
Yeah, that would have been negative, Tommy.
That's not negative, Tommy. That's real.
No, it's not.
Did you not feel that last night?
Negative Tommy is a bad Tiki creation. You cannot take that. It's trademark.
That's right.
Right. So you got to be a different Tommy from 2022.
Tommy, did you not last night,
2022
watching
Tommy.
the Mets blow a 4-1 lead in the 8th inning, watching Pete Alonso hit a ball how is that not a home run? And Acuna's making a leaping catch. And then Alvarez, everything that went into the loss. I don't need to break it down again.
Yeah.
Did that not, in your mind, quote, add to the long list of losses in Atlanta, the nightmare that never ends? True or false?
I can't say that after last year. After what happened last year at the end of the season in that final game. I mean, to me, if that didn't exercise the demons, I don't know what will. Like, what more did you need to see after last year to then carry it over to this year?
Beat them consistently.
All right, but they beat them consistently last year. And I think you said it brilliantly. If this happened in Pittsburgh last night, there wouldn't be crying. Azuna had a nice play. Acuna had a nice catch. Alvarez had a brain fart. Those are things that could happen anywhere on the planet Earth.
They could.
You bounce back, and to me, this all boils down to Lindor. When Lindor is rocking and rolling, the Mets are rocking and rolling. He's scuffling over the last couple of days. I have all the faith in the world in Lindor. When he gets rolling, the Mets will get rolling. No need to panic. Stop with Atlanta. I can't hear it anymore. I can't hear about the skeletons in the closet or the demons. It's a losing streak. They lost a couple games in a row. It happens.
And the key is they got to stop the losing streak now because it's 4 in a row. They got 2 more in Atlanta. They have a tough cookie in Philadelphia. Is this going to extend from a losing streak to a really bad losing streak? We'll hear from Yankee fans. We'll hear from Met fans. It's a group therapy session. We're all in this together. And again, this is the second time we're going to have to do this as a group. Sean and I are really sorry because on Friday, we had a great debate about who's better, the Mets or the Yankees. Since that debate on Evan and Tiki, The Mets and the Yankees are a combined 0-9. So, Sean, please apologize to the audience.
Again.
I apologize. And I guarantee you this. If both of these losing streaks continue to Fanatics Fest, I will do another sermon to awaken the demons. A
humana?
Oh,
nice.
I'm sorry, too.
Evan, can you apologize as well?
I am very, very sorry to my fellow Met fans and the Yankee fans.
And even though I just adjudicated it was kind of my idea.
So are you sorry, too?
I'm sorry as well.